Hello, everyone. Good morning. And I'm Ritama, your host and your host for today. As we know that SAP Growth Podcast is reaching out to a large scale of people. And today we have a very special and interesting guest for you all. Meet Mr. Avnikant Singh, a seasoned EAM PM consultant with 13 plus years of experience in SAP Excellence. Specializing in utility power and manufacturing, Avnikan leads a seamless SAP projects from initiation to completion, emphasizing accountability and quality assurance. His achievements includes successful implementation, transparent management of summaries, and SAP certification. Committed to the core values of excellence and integrity, Avnikant is eager to contribute his expertise to organizations driving transformative projects. Welcome to SAP Growth Podcast with Avnikant Singh today. Hi, Avnikant.
Hi,
How are you?
doing good today. And how
Thank
are
you so
you?
much for joining. I'm good. I'm actually great. I'm really happy and excited to do this podcast with you, and I'm really excited to do it. So, how's your day looking like? First, tell me that.
Oh, so us as a SAP consultant days are like packed up all the time and just had my go live session. We had a successful go live and now I'm back with new projects.
All right. And you have over 13 years of experience, right? So
Yes.
I told a brief from your summary, but could you tell a little bit more about yourself, that what is your hobbies? What are your day-to-day life like an SAP consultant? Like you said that you went to sleep last night at 3 a.m. in the morning. So a little snippet can do good for the audience a little bit.
Okay. So my background is from mechanical engineering. I did engineering
Okay.
and then I was placed in multinational company. And there
Okay.
is where I started knowing about ERPs and tools.
Mm-hmm.
So I was not interested in more of like software industry or IT industry. I was more of like core backgrounds where I like go to machines, touch machines and do on the floors, everything on the floor. So
Okay.
eventually like when I learned about SAP and the
Mhm.
interest grew on and like I started with background with ABAP, that is the coding language of SAP. And then
Mhm.
interestingly, I got chance from SAP to learn SAP PM module, that is plant
Okay.
maintenance, which you were telling about EAM now.
Yeah.
So that's how I got interested, and now it has been like a long journey with that module.
And you're super happy with this work.
I do,
I can
yes,
clearly say,
yes.
yeah. So the main reason why I asked you this question, and I genuinely asked this question, is I've seen a person who's from a very different background, start like from their college and from their 12th, they take upskill themselves into something like SAP, Workday, Salesforce, and they continue their journey from there, and they're really happy. Like that's what my real reason to ask you, that they're really happy with their upskilling, their new form of professionalism. So
Correct.
this is your profession now for 13 years. Now, before I dive into the questions, and today as our topic is uh, understanding about Bluefield and Greenfield of SAP. So could you tell me a little bit about what is Bluefield and Greenfield of SAP?
Okay. So just seeming like these are the colors, right? Green,
Yeah.
blue, brown. You have these colors in SAP landscape. So now, taking into consideration of implementation methodology. So you
Right.
have three different types of methodology you can use it. Either it
Okay.
goes like greenfield projects, you get it
Correct.
into brownfield, or you get into bluefield.
Okay.
So there are like very key differences which we will be covering. So green
Hmm.
is like completely green slate, a white plate that you have, and you can build anything over it. But
Okay.
coming to Bluefield, you have your systems in hand, and you will be just doing a selective data transformation in it. So now
Okay.
you have your ECC in the legacy, and you want to move to S4. There you may be choosing a Bluefield implementation and get your data back to the future system.
Right.
So
All
that's
right.
the
So
difference.
I'll dive into the next question then. So, because I'm really interested to know what is the entirety of this concept. So, Given your extensive background, could you share a memorable experience or a significant lesson learned from your involvement in Greenfield and Bluefield SAP implementation?
Okay. Now, understanding that is what I normally say. Like understanding this methodology or the projects uh, gives you a basic understanding of what you are actually doing and why you are doing. That's the
Right,
basic in SAP. So
right.
now memories, I can say like for greenfield implementation, it was like 150 plants we need to do. Uh,
Okay,
so that's a big project. You can say like a 5-year project. Now
okay.
dividing that into different releases, that is where
Mhm.
your greenfield projects can be divided into different releases.
Right.
And if it is a global project, uh, you don't have your SAP land like background.
Mm-hmm.
So now bringing your team or your users from
Mm-hmm.
existing system to SAP, it's a tedious
Right,
task. And
right,
there is a like hesitations from the business also. Why should I go to SAP and why should I use it?
right.
Right. So that's a completely on the decision making of the leadership. They take it
Yeah.
this decision, and eventually we as a consultant we go and implement it. So
So,
that is one part.
how can you tell me the roadmap of understanding where the Bluefield and the Greenfield implementation applies? Like a person who just came out of the college and they want to upskill themselves in SAP. So, which SAP module they should apply first, and they should in go which direction? If you tell me the direction a little bit.
Okay, this is completely on the candidates or the aspirants' interest, where
Right,
where he want to see what interests more. Like
right.
let me, if I go to finance, I would
Mm-hmm.
not like it or love it for doing anything in financial transactions because I don't have that background. I don't so interest in that. But if I
Mm-hmm.
like my model is plant maintenance, I go into PP, QM, EHS
Mm-hmm.
modules. So
Okay.
that interests me. What is going
Mm.
on the floor? I go and touch something like machines. I
Yeah.
can talk in that language to the business users. So
Right.
that interests me. That's
Right.
giving me daily feel that okay, I'm doing some changes in the system and it is
Correct.
impacting directly to the people on the
Right.
production. Like let's say like you go to an iPhone industry or you go there and you feel like what is being produced
Mm-hmm.
and what you are doing in SAP that has an
Mm-hmm.
impact to that product. So that's what
Okay.
we do. And if that interests you, you can do well in SAP.
Got got. Now I'll dive into the next question then. So, can you please explain the fundamental difference between Greenfield and Bluefield SAP implementation, which you already have? But can you tell me in a elaborate way if you can?
Okay. The basic is Greenfield, you are moving your legacy system to SAP
Right.
and you are completely going with new business functionalities and everything. Okay.
Right. Right.
You had Oracle, you had your homegrown systems, and you're moving
Mhm.
it to S4 HANA. Now,
Okay.
Bluefield is you had SAP, but now you want to take advantage of the future of SAP, that is S4 HANA. So now you're
Got
moving from ECC to HANA. And
got
the basic difference will be like uh, for Greenfield, you can implement whatever you want, like because you don't have any baggage that we have to do this functionalities in system and we have to carry forward that. But Bluefield, you have certain limitation that yes, you can do a selective data transformations. So that's the basic difference.
Okay, got it. So now the next question is, what challenges have you encountered in Greenfield implementation and how were they addressed? Like, if you could tell.
Okay. For the Greenfield,
Yeah,
so Greenfield is completely the challenges are again. We'll come back to the same point where the business users they are very
yeah,
resistive to get into something new, right? Anyone
right,
getting into new, they will resist themselves that why should I learn this? So training
right,
module. Once
right.
you once the organization has started like thought of we will go for Greenfield implementation as for HANA
Got
system,
it. Okay.
you have to plan accordingly in the parallel that how we are going to train our business users,
Yeah, right,
right? Because they
right,
haven't seen any time SAP, and
right.
what as a consultant we feel is during your explore phase where you go and interact with business, you need
Hmm.
to find out what the key decision factors to get it implemented into SAP. Make them comfortable to the business customers. Make them
Right.
comfortable with the terminologies that SAP has.
Correct. And
So if
also there is a factor that also carries in the mind with the points you said. Ki when you start from a clean slate, you don't have a mentor to
correct,
help you with it. You have to be
correct,
your own mentor.
yes.
So that's what I understood.
So you have to have the key stakeholders of the business
Right.
on the board. So
Correct.
that's the very key challenge that we normally face in Greenfield. It's a
Hmm.
preparation is very long, tedious job. Like you need to find the right persons at every place.
Okay. So are there any specific industries or scenarios where one can approach is more favorable than others?
Uh, so this completely depends on the business, but as a consultant, we can recommend, and the recommendations are like if there is a very complex industry, we don't get into Greenfield
Okay.
because the structure is very complex, right?
Right.
So they will be time taking process.
Right.
But
Right.
Bluefield is like you have your SAP system, and you can just move on to the newer future technology that you want to do
As for HANA.
as for HANA. So that's
Right.
how you can differentiate on the basis of which organization should choose. So I can say like very small industries, they directly
Yeah.
choose it Greenfield. They directly
Mm-hmm.
go live with public cloud right now.
Mm-hmm.
Rise with SAP or grow with SAP. They will choose it and move to cloud. But
Okay.
let's say like a very automobile industry or let's say oil and gas industry, so they have extensive business functionality to run, right? It's not a simple just a business process to run in one go. So they
Right.
will not they so if they want to choose uh, SAP to be implemented as for HANA, they have
Mm-hmm.
to have a time frame, and that time frame may go let's say like 2 years, 3 years. So that time span if you have, you can choose
Mm-hmm.
Greenfield and
Yeah.
completely rephrase, recreate a whole business scenario of your SAP.
So Greenfield is more harder. It looks like
Yes,
that Bluefield is harder later, but because Bluefield, all the people have already gone through the process and
correct.
then they reach to Bluefield. But it's Greenfield is actually the starting point. The most
Yes,
people where they procrastinate to do that. So
correct.
Greenfield is harder then. Okay, the next question I'll go towards is um, can you share a success story or a lesson learned from your experiences with one Greenfield and another one with Bluefield specifically? Like what have you felt when you started with the Greenfield and what have you felt post you completed a project with S4 HANA in Bluefield? Like that.
Okay, so for Greenfield, let's say like if you have, can you come again with the question?
I'm saying, can you share a success story? So, suppose you're in the green field and you started something up, and
Yes,
also you're in the blue field on the not on the same time, but at some other time
different
you are
position.
working
Yes,
with different position.
yes.
Tell me the success story you have felt and success story you have noticed happening there in the projects.
So in the Greenfield, again,
Yeah.
team size, right?
Yeah.
So team size will be a bigger because you are completely starting new. So you have
Okay.
every key stakeholders, every business functionality, functional owners, and the business process owners. So you
Right.
interact a lot with them, and that
Right.
gives you satisfaction because you have started something new for them. So
Yeah.
that's a very key thing, that success story I can say. Like you have given something new to the business process owners, and they will be
Yeah.
handling that baby now.
Yes. They
But
treat it like their own child. Right.
correct.
Correct. And um, and what do you see, like in what amount of people or how many group, like small scale as in how many group of people can actually put up with this kind of projects you usually saw like that?
I have seen starting with like 50 members also, and I have seen
Okay.
like 500 members also. So it depends on
Okay.
the scale of the industry what you're going to implement.
Right.
So a greenfield can be implemented in like 9 months or 10 months, or
Mm-hmm.
it can go. like 3 years, 5 years. So I'm a part of project where still the greenfield implementation is going on, and that
Okay.
has been starting with 20, and now it is almost 3 years.
So you're in the tough position right now.
Yes,
But it's I'm sure that the uh, Bluefield projects is something, you know, that it's gonna turn up to something futuristic and something amazing. But
correct.
when you complete the Greenfield projects, you will automatically feel that okay, this is something amazing. The
We
feeling is
created it.
amazing.
Yes,
Yes. So
that's
creation has better happiness, I think.
yes.
Right. So, tell me a success story on the Bluefield projects. We have more focused on the Greenfield, but tell me a little bit about Bluefield projects that you have completed and you've seen a success story, or you have felt a success story over
Okay. So first, I'll move on the challenge of Bluefield. So there
there.
is a challenge of data strategy because you're
Okay.
moving your existing data, right? You're not creating
Mm.
something new. So you have existing data. Now you harmonize that. You clean up that data because
Mm-hmm.
you're going to a new future data, like new feature system. Let's say you have
Right.
two different phones. Now you're upgrading it. So now you
Mm-hmm.
want to move only few applications to your new system. So you have,
Right.
and uh, that decision is very key. And once you get to
Okay.
that the data movement, uh,
Mm-hmm.
you will feel like okay, now my new system is very clean, and
Mm-hmm.
the business processes are running very smoothly now. So
Got it.
once you
So,
get that data transfer, you will be
mhm.
like having that success moment.
Right. That is the moment of, happiness that okay, it's
Correct.
completed. It has
Yes.
transferred properly. Got
Yes.
it. Now I'll dive into the next question. Just a second. Um, can you say what key consideration should an organization keep in mind when deciding between greenfield and bluefield approaches?
Okay. So first we'll go with the cost, right? So
Okay.
again, we have three M systems, right? Man, money, and machines that we normally call in our system. So you have to have your resources. So if
Mm-hmm.
you have that resources in hand, you can
Mm-hmm.
choose for greenfield. That decides the so that's the decision factor where you go with a organization. Either you want to choose with greenfield or bluefield, right? That is what
Right.
you are asking. Like the so definitely cost will be there. The risk taking power, how much
Mm-hmm.
risk you can take, because greenfield will come with like a high risk, and your
Right.
bluefield will come with a moderate risk. So that
Right.
risk appetite you have to know about your organization. Then
Mm-hmm.
comes your complexity of the business processes, right? And then fourth will be like how many
Machines.
how much time you can shut down your machines, and you have that blackout period, and
Mm-hmm.
you can have your systems unavailable, and still your business is processing, right? So those decisions will be key factors making these decisions.
All right. So now I go to this other question, that how does a scale of a project influence the choice between these implementation strategies?
Okay, again, I think this will relate. I will just extend my last question. Like you have your business process running. So
Mhm.
Bluefield keeps you very minimum downtime and disruption of the business process because you're still
Right.
running on that. But
Right.
Greenfield, your key members from the plant or the organizations are setting and planning something for the uh, new business processes, right? So there the
Right.
disruption of your businesses may happen, right? Because you
Correct.
are taking out from the plant to decide the key members, right? So the key
Right.
stakeholders are already involved into a different placeholders.
Correct.
So that will decide now if a large scale project is there. Uh,
Hmm.
how do you want to take different peoples from ongoing projects, right?
Right.
So the your
Right.
production will hamper. So that's a moment, like you can say, how this influence these decisions influence to the business also.
Hmm.
Either you have to
Got
recreate your whole team,
it.
bring it up,
Hmm.
but in that
Have
scenario
a,
also,
or
but
have
that
a
scenario,
risk
yes,
management people.
right, right. So you have to, but anyhow, you have to take your SMEs or the key business users in that, because they will be deciding what processes they run. As a consultant, we
Right.
cannot tell that you have to implement this process, right?
Right. Right. Got it. So I'll jump into the next question now. In your experience, what are the most common pitfall to avoid in both greenfield and bluefield implementation?
For Greenfield again, insufficient training. If
Right.
users are not trained,
Mm-hmm.
that's a big no there. So you cannot
Right.
utilize in the correct way. And
Right.
for Bluefield is your data integrity, I can say. If your data hasn't moved into the correct format, you are
Mm-hmm.
going to face a challenge. So that those are the pitfalls that I can identify.
And also in the greenfield, of a person's mindset needs to be much more
Yes,
uh, stronger.
they have to be adaptive to the new
Yeah.
things.
Yes.
In Bluefield, you are not doing something
New.
aggressive changes like completely new.
Right. Right. Wow, that's like it's a very interesting subject. Even I want to go through this post this podcast
Uh,
now.
Now, Ritam, I
Now,
just take an example of getting a person from one like one operating system to a new operating system. If you go
right,
from Windows to a Mac OS or like Linux to Unix, so that changes, right? Android to
right,
or iOS. So those
right,
changes you will feel here, Greenfield and Bluefield.
right. All right. Now I'll come. We have reached to the last question. I somehow don't know how the time went by, but what advice would you have for an organization planning for their SAP implementation journey?
This is the place where the most of your time should go, planning and choosing the correct path. Because once you have decided, you can't move it back, right?
Mm-hmm,
Once you decide, okay, let's invest our money in uh, greenfield implementation, I want to get it something like everything new for my business.
mm-hmm,
Now once you have taken that decision, you have uh, like planted all your stakeholders, you cannot move back, right? So that decision making planning should be very accurate there.
mm-hmm,
Now coming to your so that's where like we call it assessment, right? So you do a
mm-hmm.
thorough assessment of your uh, existing business.
Right,
Whom which are the key stakeholders or the people whom we can onboard to the new project. So
right,
that is not from consulting part, that is from the organization part, they have to do it. So
correct.
that's a decision that they need to do. Then we
Okay,
come on flexibility, how flexible they are, right, to
right,
adapting to the new change.
right.
And again, the last I can say, like everyone has to go to S4 HANA right now. So either they choose or not, they have to move it. Either they go for SAP or they go for any other system, ERP.
Mm-hmm,
They have
mm-hmm.
to change in this digital world, right?
Okay.
So
So
if
S4
someone
HANA,
is, yes,
somewhere they have to reach to the destination that is S4
correct,
HANA. They have to be prepared for that. Got
and the clock is ticking
it.
because 2027 S4 like your ECC will go away.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Thank you so much for this information. So, any tips and tricks you have for the young students or for the people who just started their SAP journey? You can tell them that how they can successfully make up their mind for this greenfield and bluefield pathways.
Right. So till now, as per my experience, I have interacted
Mhm,
with multiple, uh, s- like I can say, like experience holders, like
mhm,
freshers, five
mhm,
years, 10 years, and also the veterans in this industry of SAP, where they like say 50 years. So I have
mhm.
seen everyone, and now only one thing I have seen that they don't like once you are getting into SAP industry, so you don't know which project you are in. But
Right.
like I always suggest or recommend people to know which system you are working. Either you are in a greenfield project or a bluefield. They have just done the implementation, but still they don't know which implementation they have done because they have
Got it.
not because they have never seen the holistic picture of what is going on. They just
Got
saw their own module. Okay, I have done these configurations, these codings, and I'm good. But they have not seen like what actually they have done.
it.
Was it a green field or a blue field, or was it going on cloud, or was it going on premise? So these things, these terminologies, they should understand.
But that's a very, very clever, suggestion. Like, because a lot of people mindlessly do their job sometimes
Yes.
and they don't know what they're doing. That's why
Right.
I was smiling, because I have seen that thing in my own eyes that, okay, I just have to go to work and I have to just do my job. I don't know, need to know what am I doing exactly. So,
Correct.
absolutely, that is a spot on answer. Avnikant, thank you so much for this wonderful podcast. And I hope we do more and more podcasts on S4 HANA and more on Greenfield, because
Ah,
that enticed me more actually. So, uh, thank you so much for your time. And I wish you a very happy new year and a very, very, very good day.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks,